You've got to be kidding! My lead bikini. Put him up, tough guy. Can I change my mind about this? Here we go! I don't know if I like the looks of this. Hello, ugly. Woohoo! Going up. Careful now. This could use some fixing up. Let's do it! This will take some skill. No sweat. I feel like a lab rat. Hey, Tobias, lend me your wings. Almost there. I hardly recognize this place. Here we go! Insane! Piece of cake! Ugh! It's a jungle in here! Nice plant! Ugh! And I thought the platforms were hard. Ugh! Here we go! I made it! Wonder what's inside? Oh! Piece of cake! Looks like Rat Central Station. Here we go! Oh, great. No sweat! I don't know if I like the looks of this. Gotta remember, don't look down. Whee! No sweat! I do not have time for this. Here we go! Careful now! Careful now!